there's going to be adversities, and your character is going to show through. And I think that the respect that people, opponents, teammates have for you goes a long way. And I think for me to be sitting in this chair now as a manager of the Dodgers, how I went about things, I think has led into these opportunities.
This is Entrepreneurs the Playbook, where I give you access each week to the world's greatest athletes and executives about their personal and professional playbook and what has made them champions on and off the field. This is the Playbook. This is Dave Meltzer, CEO of Sports One Marketing, here with Entrepreneur the Playbook. And I'm torn to be with Dave Roberts because I'm a Padres fan. And I love
too.
I know you are, and that's why I'm torn. The manager of the unbelievable Dodgers, and we have circled in the same spaces throughout your career. And I've been a fan of yours, but also not just for baseball, but your character and the advancement that you've made. I think for entrepreneurs, we have to look at what is someone's character, because I think self-admittedly, you've been around professional players like me for a long time.
Sure.
It's not always the guys with the most skills.
Right.
There's you can admit there's better baseball players than you.
Many times over.
Right? And I would admit the same thing about myself.
Yeah, right. Maybe.
But I want to get into, because I think the same thing's true with entrepreneurs in business.
Sure.
I've been blessed,
Yeah.
huge successes, and then lost it all and then made it all back.
Right.
But I believe I've met so many more intelligent and skillful people in business with Harvard business degrees.
Sure.
But yet there's certain characteristics that are basic that you actually are trying to push forward with YSPN 360, the charitable organization to help coaches understand how we give a better experience to kids.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of those characteristics that you think helped your journey from not being the guy recruited number one at UCLA to playing a great career, storied career, and then advancing to be a manager of the storied Los Angeles Dodgers.
That's a great introduction, segue, Dave. And the thing that really kind of hits me is you use the word character. And I think for me, it's something that I've always tried with my parents' upbringing to have character. And that's and it's, for me, it's bigger than the skill, because it kind of how you are in adversity. And when you're talking about life, sports, talent, there's going to be adversities, and your character is going to show through. And I think that the respect that people, opponents, teammates have for you goes a long way. And I think for me to be sitting in this chair now as a manager of the Dodgers, how I went about things, I think has led into these opportunities. And so, you mentioned YSPN 360 and kind of paying it forward, and what made my life and my love for sports, all this kind of stuff, and what makes me interested in YSPN 360 and Lou Burt, who's a good friend of mine, who's the founder, is the character of the people, the coaches that are involved. Sandy Alomar, an ex-teammate, Omar Vizquel, going to be a Hall of Famer. These are character men that are teaching and trying to make the game fun for kids, the youth, and easy for coaches, for parents. And I think that now where that teaching, kids want to get taught. And I think that having exposure to people of character and having a track record, I think that that's a seamless thing, but hard work, practice, overcoming failure, being positive, all these things for me kind of helped me get where I'm at.
It's interesting, you had such a great season last season, and yet falling short is something I think is really important to teach everyone.
Sure, absolutely.
Right? And I think I heard you talk about something that I believe is you don't stumble on the roadblocks behind you. You don't think about what's happening next week. You're a very present person. And that perspective is also taught through this great organization. And I think perspective's everything, whether you're someone like me that just loves the sport and played in college, but didn't have all the skills or desire that's necessary. For you, talk about where you would empower people, or how not just your teams, these kids, you're gonna fall short. Let me know how your philosophy, because I really love the way you said it.
Yeah, you know what, it's funny. I'm definitely present, focused, and kind of the moment, living in the moment, appreciating the past and your successes, your failures, and kind of really navigate you towards the future, which I totally appreciate. But being in the moment right now and controlling what you can control, I think there's a lot of power in that. And so it took me a while to learn that, because a lot of times in life, in sports, we're all very results driven. And, and a lot of times in baseball specifically, you can't control it. You can do everything right and still not be successful. And that is discouraging at times. I mean, it really is. And you look at an 0 for 4 that turns into an 0 for 20, and that's baseball and life itself, where I think that baseball, the adversities and trying to still overcome and to still put in the work and still be a good teammate, a person of high character and being positive, I think that really separates you and puts you in a good place going forward in life. So even I've said it to my kids my entire life, is that even if I never became a Major League Baseball player, or let alone a Major League coach or manager, I knew that because what I went through in sports and the successes, the failures, the great people I was around and mentored or coached me, I was going to be successful and give back in some way. And I don't know which way, but now I have an opportunity, for example, right now to represent YSPN 360 and have somewhat of a platform for parents, the youth, and do my part. And I feel good about that.
Very cool. Now, one of the things you mentioned, I think, is the best part about baseball. And I grew up with a single mom, but the one thing she picked up on was that baseball was the sport for her that was most like life, because you could be an all-star. If she would always tell me, if you just get 3 hits, Dave, right out of 10.
That's it. Yeah, that's right.
Right out of life.
That's
and
right.
Because she knew my siblings were extremely academic and intelligent.
Yeah.
Harvard, Penn, Columbia, but I was the sports guy.
Right.
And she was trying to get me motivated in school and talking about life. She would always tell me when I tried really hard and something didn't happen, she'd say, all it takes is 3 hits. Right. That's just one of them. And then I expanded on that, and because people can't take no.
Right.
And if you're going to work in baseball, you're going to take no a lot. In fact, your mentor, Bud Black, right here, you have your mentor, and you end up in an awkward position, having to,
Sure.
And I'm sure, being a great mentor, he was more proud of you and happy for you, and he wasn't worried about himself.
Yes.
But dealing with no,
Yeah.
so many times. In high school, you dealt with it. College,
Yep.
pros, managing. I know the program deals with that a lot too. That character of, hey, you're only so many no's from a yes.
Yeah.
And in teaching the kids that.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that there's a resiliency component, because it's not the right fit or at that moment in time to get that yes. But a lot of times we as humans and people, and especially the youth, have a tendency to take things personal, and I was guilty of that as well. So it's one of those things that you can look at it as fuel, which many people do, and people talk about a chip on your shoulder to prove people wrong. Or another way also is, it could be positive, is to take it and what can I learn from the no, and why is the no not a yes? And so for me, that's the kind of the ultimate balance. And so when you're around the right people, the positive people, and I think that our coaches are very good at explaining the fun, the positives, and what skills and character need to turn those no's into yeses. And I really like being around people that are open. But those resilient people that can take a no but keep pounding and working and trying to turn those no's to yeses, obviously I have a lot of respect for, and we kind of are married in that sense, for sure.
What's interesting too, diversity and equality are a big issue in life. And YSPN 360, I think, really promotes equality and diversity. And my business partner is Warren Moon. So
Wow.
I've dealt with
I'm a big fan.
those types of issues. And I used to tell people my goal of working with Warren Moon for so many years was that someday they wouldn't say black quarterback.
Ooh.
They would just say,
He was a great
arm,
quarterback.
terrible guy, right? Whichever.
Yeah.
But and here you are, they say the first
That's
Asian coach to go to the World Series in Africa, right? And to me, looking around, I represented the Clemente family when I was with Leigh. We did the statue for Jackie Robinson, and it's been a big part of my career. But when I look at the YSPN 360, I see kind of the next generation where we grew up with those differences, and you had to overcome a lot, and so did I and other people on both sides of how this equality and diversity works. I love the fact men, women. It's softball and baseball.
It's softball, baseball.
It's every race, creed.
Oh, we got
kind.
different. We got Venezuelans, we got Puerto Ricans, we got them all.
Yeah, even the Carousel, the real good baseball player was from Carousel.
Yeah, that's right.
I was blessed to be a goodwill ambassador there, and I can't believe how much talent is around the world. Where do you see as, you are a leader of your culture, and a lot of kids look up and say, gosh, I can do anything, just because some people still are ignorant. Some people are closed-minded.
That's a multi-layered issue and topic, Dave, and I really appreciate you bringing that up. Baseball, for one, to kind of on the surface, is obviously a very diverse sport. So now, when you're talking about baseball and the diversity and being open to different cultures and languages and things like that, that's been amazing for me. And then you're talking about the Dave Roberts or Warren Moon, kind of the great black quarterback or first African-American manager. And it's kind of, again, it kind of goes to the not taking it too personal, because I think that at times, Warren, speaking for Warren, myself, or other people, you take it a little bit personal, but I think that in the right context, it's because the truth is that if there's an African-American kid in the city, in the inner city, and says, I could be the next Warren Moon because he has the same skin color as I do. Yeah. Or somebody from Puerto Rico that says, I can be the next catcher like Sandy Alomar, or from Venezuela. So it's like, he's a great Venezuelan shortstop, Omar Vizquel. So you can take it one way or another way of kind of giving people hope.
Right.
And so for me, as the first African-American manager for the Dodgers, could I take it as a little bit of a slight? I think that some people could look at it, or you can look at it as an honor or a responsibility. So that's why for me it's fascinating to have this conversation. Yeah. So when I'm around diverse people with character, open-mindedness, want to be positive, that really kind of, obviously I'm getting going right now because that excites me.
Yeah, me too. In fact, one of the things as a mentor myself that excited me is I always wanted to illuminate the difficulties, the failures that I had, whether it was my size or whatever. I love self-deprecating humor even when I coach, because I want the people that I'm coaching to feel as if they're equal to or better than me. Yeah. Because that gives them hope, right?
It does.
When we feel equal to, like, wow, I used to use my size as an excuse. Right, because I played baseball and football at a higher level, but not the highest. And I had all my friends playing in the bigs. Right. And I would say, well, Eric Karras is 6'4".
If I was 6'4".
Yeah, and it's a lie.
Right.
And you know that, and so do I. And I love that side of it. For me is, look at Altuve, and then you got Judge.
Yeah, right.
Like two great young talents. Or Ozzie Albies, I know, right?
Love him.
He weighs like 150 pounds.
Yes.
And I looked at him, I go, now come on, that guy hits home runs. He won the home run derby in Carousel against Didi Gregorius.
Did he really?
Yeah. And and Hensley was there, like this kid's. And I said to myself, I have been lying to everyone for years.
Right.
Because if I had the skills, what does it take, regardless of your size, your color, your sex, what is that ingredient that you see that is the difference? I know what it is in business for me. I call it the consistent everyday, persistent without quit, enjoyment of the pursuit of my potential. And I didn't have that in sports. Although I had a desire, a passion. It's like someone coming to you and saying, man, Dave, I want to be the manager of the Dodgers someday, but they're not doing the work at the level you need to do it. What do you think that secret sauce is?
Well, you know what? First of all, I want to kind of remember what you just said, because that sounds very similar to what I love.
Enjoyment of the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit, pursuit of your potential.
Because I think that enjoyment of the process, or liking practice, or loving to practice, I think that's part of the process. But I think, though, it's interesting because we all have different paths. Your path wasn't to be a Major League Baseball player, but you're successful in your own right and have really affected millions of people. And that right there was your path. And I think for me and Altuve or whatever, that's our path. So I think that I do agree that there's kind of an overarching enjoy the process. There's a talent, obviously. There's a hard work ethic. There's a recovery, a mental toughness part of that, absolutely, that you have to have to reach that ultimate level. I do agree with that. And also to sustain it, because there's a lot of people that get to the pinnacle and they can't stay there. But those things are really good ingredients for me to be successful in life. And I just have a hard time saying that success one thing is going to make you successful, or one occupation is successful versus another one. And it goes back to kind of what you said about the coaches and having them, whether it's simplifying things or you telling a player that you have more talent and I did this and this is a roadmap for you to kind of fulfill your dream, you know, and I think that that's really fun for me.
And I think you nailed something with the roadmap, and that's going back to ESPN 360. There's many different roads to Rome, right? Many different roads. I tease people because the most common question for me is probably similar to you. It's, Mr. Meltzer, I want to be a sports agent.
Sure.
Right? What am I supposed to do?
Sure.
Right? And if I told you that to become a sports agent, this is my path, and if I told a kid this, they would run away from me.
They would.
But I went to law school, decided to work in the internet instead of practice law. I sold legal research online, became a millionaire, went to the Silicon Valley, raised a bunch of money, got into the wireless proxy service space, became the CEO of Samsung's first phone division, lost all my money, met Leigh Steinberg, and Jeff Morad was leaving, and in 48 hours he hired me to be the chief operating officer of the most notable sports agency, became CEO, best friends with Warren Moon, right? And so that's how you're a sports agent.
So that's the roadmap. There you go.
And your story, right, is like, I didn't get drafted. I didn't get recruited, so I walked on at UCLA.
Yeah.
And it keeps going on.
It keeps going
and
on.
that's how I'm the manager of the Padres, right?
You're a 28th round draft pick. You signed for $1,000 from the Detroit Tigers. You want to make $850 a month? Go for it.
That all being said, with your background with ESPN 360 and your journey, what advice would you give to yourself if you were at the ESPN 360 with all the coaches? What advice would you give to your teenage self?
To my teenage self, I think that as a recipient and receiver of the, I think that I would just vet. I would hope I would have, my father would kind of encourage me, my coaches would encourage me. I would be around the right coaches that would want to vet all these coaches that have really been great in their own right, in their own sports, in baseball and the women in softball. And really, I think that just to kind of understand the whole game in itself, because I think that there's so much in baseball that's so multifaceted, but I think that the people, the coaches that we have in place are such good men. And I think that when you talk to Jim Brower, who's a pitching coach up there in Seattle with the Mariners, or Brian Corey, or like I said, Sandy, like, these are really good men that you have a potential to connect with and really feel that personal connection, that I think that could motivate a teenager or somebody with the youth, let alone the content. So knowledge is very powerful. Understanding the game of baseball, being more well-rounded is going to only make you and enhance your opportunity or chances to go further in this game. I just look at it as an opportunity.
All the great coaches that are involved with ESPN 360, what I think the difference that I found and why I support it is that I have an old saying in the business world: people buy on emotion for logical reasons. And whether you're the manager of the Dodgers, you have to have an emotional buy-in, a connection to all your players.
That's right.
Regardless of your Bobby Cox, the statistical genius of baseball, or any other coach that knows the game inside and out.
That's right.
It's that emotional connection that make the great managers and also the great coaches. And I know I was talking to Lou as well about the coaches that he picks, like Sandy.
Yeah.
He doesn't really care about that logical side. The first thing is, I'm looking for good people that are going to inspire and aspire to be great and to help others be great.
Yeah, because it's like, that's well said. Because if you look at the coaches that are involved, this is something that these guys, us guys, feel compelled, we have a passion about, and it's the youth. And it's not something that we have to do, we're forced to do. And so for me, that's really encouraging for me. And that's kind of when it was brought to me and I see the people that are involved that I have respect for, they're doing it for a bigger purpose. And I think that that servant attitude, the giving, paying it forward, whatever you want to classify it, and it goes back to the character of these men and women, I wanted to be a part of it. And so it's kind of, I think that it's like you can get somebody, you can get in front of somebody, but if the people giving the information or the coaching or whatever aren't passionate, believe in what they're saying, or aren't real or authentic, then it's a click off, it's not a return, it's like, it's come and gone. But you have a chance to sustain it when you have the credentials, the credibility of some high character, great players.
Well, that's awesome. Last question, regrettably, because I would stay here all day with you, but I think you got a big game tonight. Hopefully it goes as well as last night. When it's all said and done, being the manager of a storied organization, what legacy do you want to leave as Dave Roberts?
I hope in my kind of, when you're getting way ahead, and this gives me goosebumps to even kind of be asked that question, as a man who led one of the greatest organizations in all of sports, business, people well before me that I have such respect for. I did it with passion. I did it with pride for the city of Los Angeles, for every person I come across, whether it be ushers, ticket takers, clubhouse guys, people that clean the offices, the players, the coaches, executives, fans, that I impacted them in a positive way. And I hope that I made them proud by doing it with hard work and respect for them.
That's awesome. Well, I know beyond that, even our community, our state, and even the world, there's so many people that you impact because of the blessing of content on TV and social media. That your leadership, is something to be admired. And as a Padre fan, I'm going to have to say this because we are out of it. I am all Dodgers this year.
Right. Dave, thank you. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. This is Dave Meltzer with Entrepreneur, the Playbook.